Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. In this video, I am going to talk to you about a channel message I received from Poiel, the Angel of Fame. I have a physical representation of Poiel that he chose for himself, or she. And let me get back a little bit just so you guys can see. She insisted on the peacock feathers, the red feathers. I just want to show you just the physical representation of the angel that came to me. And then I want to get right into this message. I'm going to set you right here. Thank you so much for this message, Poiel. Okay, so we're talking about why Beyonce is a marketing genius, according to Poiel, the Angel of Fame. He says a battery has to have a positive and a negative charge in order for it to be active, in order for it to work. And sometimes when people think about being famous, they just think, oh my God, people are just going to love me. It's going to be so great. And they're going to be calling my name. But according to Poiel, that is a small portion of it. People calling your name and people buying your products. There's also friction that's needed by people who absolutely hate you and people who can't stand you. Negative press is just as valuable as positive press, and as a matter of fact, it is absolutely necessary in order for you not to become stagnant. And one of the things he says repeatedly is that anytime something becomes stable or consistent, it becomes invisible. So when you think about fame, you have to think about movement. So so conflict creates curiosity. People want to be famous without understanding the nature of fire. Without conflict, confusion, and mystery, you have a difficult time igniting the imagination of people and making them excited about you. So in order to be magnetic, you have to understand there have to be just as many people who love you as people who dislike you or hate you. But if people feel neutral about you, this is when you're going to be absolutely in trouble. So one of the things that he said is brilliant that Beyonce has done. Sometimes the reason we don't get the things in life that we want is because deep in our heart, we don't believe that we deserve them. Add this unconditional self-love jewelry to your magical repertoire to bring in more wealth, more love, because when you fall in love with yourself, so will the world. Is that she has been able to transform with her core audience. So when she first started out as a part of Destiny's Child, there was this young group and they were talking about, whatever, I was thinking of songs, but it was these young girls who were talking about relationships with guys who did not meet their standards, pretty much, right? And he said that if she was continuing to sing about those things as her audience has aged, this would have made her irrelevant. But she has grown with her audience, people who have kids and people who have responsibilities, who are paying $500 tickets to go see her, because she has managed to maintain their interest in her and her music, which I think is pretty cool. So growing with your audience is very important. He says she looks fabulous, but her body is aging like everyone else's. So moving to make a country song was just a brilliant move, because she moved from, I think he is saying the one was like, I want to go to the club, I want to F something up. whatever that song is, and now she's saying 16 carriages, and she's moved to a slower pace. But he said that this was a really good move because the contrast is so important when you want to keep people interested in something. So you must create another. So another thing that Poiel, the angel of fame, talks about with Beyonce, that most people understand this, but everyday people could benefit from this information as well, is that the props are important. The cowboy hat, the cowboy attire, and adding her own spin to it. He says that the bells and whistles are crucial. Like some people say, well, you can't judge a book by a cover, and he argues that the content inside of the book is important, but the cover is equally as important because it's the first thing people see. And what the cover does is that it anchors the imagination into a reality of your choice, of your choosing. And that's why it's so important to have props, because when you have props, meaning like cowboy hats or makeup or clothes, anything that you use to let people know there has been a scene change, that I want to take you on a journey into another illusion, to use your imagination. So she said the costume changes are important because they are physical, tangible markers of psychological and emotional shift, a shift in a way of thinking. You must take their minds into another room, into the house. Like he talked about how when we decorate our homes, we don't decorate each room the same. We decorate the rooms differently because when you come into the room, you want to have a different experience. Like we could just say, I'm going to use just one color throughout my whole house, or every room is going to look exactly the same. He said, you don't understand that what you're doing is every time you decorate a different room in a different style, it actually wakes your consciousness up and it keeps you aware. It keeps your attention. And he said the worst mistake that anybody can make, and I'm going to repeat this because he kept repeating this to me, is that no matter how exciting something is, but if it remains the same, it becomes invisible. So invisibility is what you don't want if you are seeking fame. So and let me just take a look at my note. Oh yeah, last year she took the audience to the club, and now she's taking them to another room in her home. You know, we're talking about the home of entertainment, and that is now it's a new hairstyle. We're doing the country boots and the country thing. So just to reiterate a little bit, is that it's important to grow with your core audience if you want to remain relevant. You can't. A lot of times when people peak early, they lose their momentum, not because they're not talented, but because they have not been able to maintain a connection to the people who initially fell in love with them in their heyday. And this is what happens to a lot of child actors or people who, the one-hit wonders. It's like, how do I keep this momentum? How do I keep people interested in me? So the next thing, I want to make sure I go over my notes. Hope I'm not making too much noise. Is conflict. He said this was her most brilliant move. I don't know if you guys know this, but when she put out the country, the songs in the country music category, her fans were calling the country music radio stations demanding to hear her songs. And there were some country radio stations that said, look, Beyonce is not a country music star. And fans was like, oh, she has a country music song. It made the news. Everybody was talking about it. I'm talking about like the local news, that people were tapped in. My mother was calling me up like, did you know these people not playing Beyonce's record? And her fans, people are ready to riot the streets. We want her records played. Now mind you, they don't listen to country music in general, but they want to hear her on the country station. You see how she switched the room? Now, they could have made it a pop song where she has already have a room decorated, so to speak, right? But that would be invisible, because now you're competing with these young artists, and there's no controversy, there's no conflict, there's nothing to spark curiosity, there's nothing to get people talking. So to create another song in the same genre that you've been uploading and over the years, right, throughout your career, is boring. It's become stagnant. What can I do to add a spark? I know I'm gonna make a song. I'm gonna add a couple country twangs to it. It's gonna be still me. I'm gonna throw on a cowboy hat, and now I'm gonna get some feathers ruffled and get people interested, and this is going to make people listen to something that they normally would not have even probably been interested in. Now, the other thing is, so we have the conflict from people calling the radio station, the fans demanding to hear her song, people talking about it on the local news. So this was really good, though. Remember, fame needs friction. Fire needs friction. If you don't have friction, you're not going to have people talking about you. And when you want people to talk about you, there has to be something interesting, even if you don't feel comfortable with it, even if you're not happy about it. But in order to ignite those flames of tongues wagging, of people seeking you out and looking for you, you need this conflict, you need this friction. And this is why also sometimes, like, people, I know I would struggle with this myself, like if you have a YouTube channel, you want your channel to grow, but as your channel grows, you're going to have to deal with trolls. You're going to have to deal with people leaving comments that make you feel uncomfortable. If you can't deal with that, then you're going to have a really hard time with your channel's growth, and coming to your platform, whatever social platform you use, bringing your authentic voice and being yourself. You have to be comfortable. Poiel could not emphasize this enough, especially with social media and so many people coming into fame. It's so important to be grounded and know who you are, because friction, trolls, haters, negative comments, people jealous of you, this is all a part of the game. But not just a part of the game, but a necessary part of the game. So the other thing, oh my God, now this was super interesting to me, thank you, Poiel, is he talks about groups. He said that think of fame as a flame, as a fire, right? That has to be ignited with people talking about you, people being interested in you, right? Now, he said it's very important to be connected to a group that propels or ignites this fire, that, to make it bigger. So it's like, for example, that he was giving, it's like a lot of times when politicians are running for office, they will join a church, because the people in the church will pray for them. The people in the church will add to the energy of wanting them to be successful. He says that if you are looking to grow, like sometimes your fan base, like the core people who start out with you when you start your channel, they become the people who support you. They're giving you their energy, and their energy is their attention, and they're wishing you well. He said you can't make it. When I say make it, we're talking about, having a fan base of people who support your ideas and products and services to help you make a living, because that's really what it's all about, right? So this group of people that pray for you, that support you, who come after your haters, who defend you, they are so important. And he said that, so if you're not joining a church, a lot of people who are really big into politics or other groups, they join like secret societies, they join churches, like he was just naming just groups in general. The group is necessary because the group is a buffer. It protects you from being burned by the fire. So these are again, not only do they offer you support and they help propel you, he said, but think of this about the group. They propel you in terms of, like, think of the gas. They push the gas to excuse me, to push you out further, to help new people, discover your songs or your videos, or sell your books or your paintings or whatever you're doing, right? He said, but this is the other thing you have to think about with your group, is that they are also your anchor, and which is just as important. So they are your gas and they are your brakes. So let's just say, for example, he said that the more famous you become, the more people who know about you, the more you can't just say whatever you want to say. You can't respond to what people are saying because you're likely to be sued or taken. You could cause a person's business to fail. You don't understand how dangerous you become when you become extremely famous if you say or do the wrong thing. And this is why the group that anchors you to reality, that helps you make decisions, help you respond to and be very precise about what you're going to say, how you're going to be seen. He said the circle has to become extremely tight, but the group that adopt you or take care of you or support you, he said, is crucial. And this is why when people, if people who become, let's say, famous, and they don't have the right people in their circle, they find themselves consumed by the flames of fame. So now so you want to be, so think of fame as a flame, as a fire. But you need this fire, but you don't want to be consumed by this fire. So he said one of the best buffers that create balance and harmony in a celebrity or a famous person's life is basically children. This blew my mind right here. Okay, he said children, in the sense that their energy is pure, especially when they haven't started collecting or paying karmic debt. They are highly connected to their spiritual team, their guardian angels, their ascended masters. So they have this pure energy and they're being protected by the spiritual realm. And if you are a significant part of that child's life, like the parent, right, the caregiver, then that protection is going to extend to you as well, because you take care of the kid, right? So, for example, he was saying one of the brilliant things that Beyonce did is that in her last concert, she had her daughter on stage with her, Blue Ivy, and this was a way for her to extend her generational wealth. It was a way to soften her image. It was a way for her to relate to other people who have children. The same thing that Rihanna is doing right now. She's having babies. She's married. He said these are all things that buffer the flames of fame, meaning that you want to stay relevant, but you don't want to be consumed by the fire of fame. And so he said, so having Blue Ivy on stage and people seeing this, her child take part in her career, he said it endears the audience, it endears people, but it also calms down trolls and haters, because there's like this unwritten rule that you don't mess with people's kids. You don't talk about people's kids. You don't put people's kids down. It is a good way to be completely destroyed, because it's like they're innocent, right? So this is embodying or channeling or surrounding yourself or taking advantage of, I'm not sure the right word to use, of the energy of your children is really good for celebrities in terms of creating a harmonious relationship with the public, is positive press. It's like a buffer from the fire, especially when you like, let's just use Rihanna for example. She has 2 children and she's pregnant with her 3rd child, and this is a way for her to stay relevant. It's a way for people to talk about her, but also show her grace and kindness, but stay in the media. He also talked about, and I thought this was just really interesting, that Kobe Bryant's death was the other side, but the same point. When I think it was a helicopter crash or a plane crash. I think it was a helicopter, and his daughter was on the helicopter when the helicopter, took their lives. He said that his daughter buffered his legacy. So you can't, it just seemed inappropriate to talk about some of the not so savory things that may have happened to him, because here's this man who's he's gone and he's left these children behind, he left a wife behind, and then a daughter was with him, but she buffered his legacy from the negative press so that people could focus on the good about him and what he had done. I thought that was profound. At least it was profound to me. Thank you for that. I love Poiel. Okay, sorry. So anyway, the energy of children. Oh, another thing that Poiel, the angel of fame, talked about was same thing with I think his name is DDG and Halle Bailey. During the press run for the movie, for the remake of the movie The Color Purple, she was hiding her pregnancy, but her baby Halo actually protected her from the flopped movie, or from the failure of the movie. Like here she's this upcoming, beautiful young lady in a beautiful relationship with this rapper, just a very attractive couple. And he said that her baby, or the pregnancy, the baby, the energy of the baby disconnected her from all of the negativity that surrounded the movie The Color Purple, which would be another example of how when you're riding the flames when you're riding the flames of fame, you need a buffer so that you're not consumed by it, especially in the early stages. So when people think of her, they'll think of not a big failed project or a lot of negative energy. They'll think of her from The Little Mermaid and her songs or whatever else she does, but she was buffered from that. And then he talked about he said fame is an oxymoron as well, because the more famous you become, the more people who know you, the more isolated you become. So it's like the more people who are aware of who you are, the smaller your circle must become in order for you to, because you'll be surrounded by people who will drain you, who would want your money or want the fame or the attention that goes with being around you. Well, I think that I was trying to think of the word. What is it called? I can't think of the word for right now, but basically, so he's saying, so the more people know you, that the oxymoron is that the less people you must have contact with. So it's kind of like, I became famous to be loved by all these people, but in order for me to be safe, I must remove myself from people. I can't trust people. So it's like you have to disconnect or protect yourself from people. Does that make sense, guys? I thought that was pretty deep. I hadn't thought about it that way. And he said that the thing is, your circle is so important, because when you are famous, and this is what he's talking about, the buffer too with the children and the family wise, really important. And he said that a lot of people who don't have children and families, they are consumed by the flame. is because when people are putting your posters, or like back in the day, on their walls, or their screenshots, or they're in love with you, they're draining your energy. So this is where your group come in. Your group actually pour back into you. They replenish your energy. They give you the positive feedback. They pray for you. They buffer you. And that's why he said it's so important to be a part of some type of group or society, or sorority or fraternity or church. But he said that group is so necessary. He said even the people who love you, they drain your energy. And I think I'm going to make it in my video. So anyway, the last part of the message was for people who are looking to market themselves and get their name out there. He said, don't focus on fame. Focus on mastering your craft, and focus on being extremely unique. It's not your body size. It's not your skin color. He said it's your uniqueness that's going to make you stand out. And he said the more people copy other people, every time you copy something, it becomes invisible. And he said, he said the way to think of it is like this: is if you take an original copy and you keep making copies of it, each copy becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. So what people don't know is that when you try to emulate or copy somebody you like, you just become a lighter version of the original, if that makes sense. So if you want to stand out, try to be yourself. And he said that the easiest person to be is yourself. But the reason it's difficult is because people will say, oh, you wearing your hair like that, or oh, why are you doing this like that? And there's just part of you that wants to fit in or want people to like you. But if you really want to stand out, just be yourself, and don't try to, when people every time somebody get a surgery and everybody have the same body type, that body type becomes less and less attractive because everyone has it. And then when you see somebody who look real, you're like, oh my God, those are real stretch marks, those are real freckles. You're a real person. It becomes more attractive. So so just try to feel comfortable in your own skin, and express yourself express your unique self. I know when I say your unique self, he's saying that your unique self is the you that is unfiltered, the you that, how you are when nobody's looking and you're just playing around and you're in the mirror and that's the person you need to bring to the screen. So basically, he says, start refining your social circle. So focus on your craft, right? And focus on being yourself, not copying anybody else, but just really being you. Start refining your social circle. He said your social circle can delay your ability to reach large crowds, because your social circle can actually snuff out your fire and snuff out your flame, because these are the people who are going to tell you like, oh, that was a dumb idea, or are you really gonna sing that song, or are you really gonna write like that, or why are you gonna paint like that? These people are so crucial to your success and how you feel about yourself, how you push yourself. So let's just say you have this great idea. You know what popped to my head was what's her name? Tracy Chapman. Matter of fact, he's looking at me right now like we vibing. Tracy Chapman, her song Fast Car, they did not want the part like when she was talking about the father, my old man's got a problem. They said, the people said the song would be great if you take out the depressing aspects of it. Let's just hurry up and get to the what is it called? The fast part of the song. And she fought so hard. She was like, Tracy Chapman fought hard for her song to remain intact the way she wrote it, and she was willing to walk away from her record deal because she felt that they were taking too much of herself. And long story short, they were like, forget it. If you want the long, depressing part of the song, we'll let you keep it. And I think like what's coming to me is that, you know, right now I think Poiel is challenging to me is that Tracy Chapman was able to maintain her authenticity. Like you don't see her, you know, wearing some fancy too short outfit or, you know, makeup or trying to be somebody she isn't. She is the richest of the rich because she was able to express her gifts and talents, and at the same time maintain her authenticity and own herself. I think, oh my God, I think I got it all in one video. And he said, oh, lastly, he said, don't forget the bells and whistles do matter. And even in relationships, when you switch it up, remember, when you change your outfit or change your clothes or change your haircut or change your room, you wake up the subconscious or the consciousness of a person. Anytime someone sees the same thing all the time, it becomes invisible. And when you want to be famous, you don't want to be invisible. You want, so in order for people to like, oh, you know, then you need to be conscientious of your labels, the rooms meaning like, oh, okay, am I going to switch to the country music this time? I'm going to give this a different label or a different title. Like, don't forget that humans think in boxes, and if you want them to recognize you, pay attention to you, take them outside of their boxes. I really hope this video helps someone. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you darlings in the next video.